All right. Also, in NFL news, we want to talk about XFL is partnered with the NFL.
Yeah.
And just kind of like the idea of, I think this was like Dwayne Wade. Sorry, not Dwayne Wade. Excuse me.
Dwayne Johnson, The Rock.
Dwayne The Rock Johnson,
There you
kind of
go.
highly invested in the XFL. And
He is majority owner.
He is. Yeah.
So how do you
Dude.
feel about, Julian? How do you feel about the XFL partnering with the NFL?
Well, first off, this makes so much more sense why he was doing this weird like WWE monologue before the game started.
Oh yeah.
This makes so much more sense now.
It hyped me up, bro. It hyped me up for the game. I was in front of the
Honestly,
TV, pumped.
I wasn't even hearing what he was saying. I'm just seeing him just like yelling, just flexing. Like
His veins about to pop out of his head.
You could tell that man took some pre-workout and got a nasty pump because there's so many moments where you just see him like holding the microphone.
He's a performer. He's a performer
before going out on the field.
But yeah, it makes sense. But so apparently XFL just partnered with the NFL, and kind of the idea behind it is that the XFL is going to be a petri dish, kind of like a place to experiment certain things that could eventually be introduced into the NFL.
Oh, wow.
Which I think is pretty cool because I don't know if you guys watched the first reboot of the league last year or right before COVID. COVID pretty much knocked it out, but like I don't know if you guys watched those first couple of games. It was set up to be pretty successful. They had big TV deals with like ESPN and Fox and stuff like that. They brought in a bunch of like NFL players and a bunch of ex-NFL coaches and stuff like that. And there was a lot of interesting ideas where like they changed like kickoffs, and it's actually a little bit more of a safer kickoff. It's kind of like a punt almost. And then they also they did like being able to control camera, like the refs had like Xbox controllers being able to like go and move cameras around and things like that and see things. There was a lot of interesting, like innovative things to help improve the game. And obviously you could tell there's certain things that, what did the NFL take from there recently? I can't remember, but like for example, the Skycam that we see now all the time, that was actually introduced from the first XFL back in like the early 2000s. The very first one. And you can tell that because the NFL hasn't really had any like major competition except for college football, if you want to call that really a competition. I wouldn't necessarily call it that, but I think it's cool. Like I've always felt like that there needed to be a second or like a lower level league for players who just can't quite make it in the NFL to still have a career playing football and playing the game they love.
Paid playing professionally, in a sense.
You can still get paid and do what you love and still do it and still have a second chance to come back. And football was like the only sport that doesn't have that. Like a
farm system league, right?
Yeah. Or not even a farm system league, but just a second tier league that you can go to. The closest thing they had was the arena football, but that's completely different. That's almost a whole different sport. But like basketball, you can go to Europe. Soccer, there's so much places you can go to do. Baseball, you have the minors. Hockey, you have the minors. The NFL was just missing that, and I think XFL is good. And there's a huge opportunity to take a part. Like we talked about how relatively how short the NFL season is. You have so much time in between that they try to fill up as much as they can, and I think they do a pretty good job of it in draft, free agency, training camp, all this other stuff. But like it'd be nice to have some actual like football going on during that time, because college and NFL, they go on the same time, so you don't really see it. But like it'd be nice to have some filler content, which we are actually getting this season with the United States Football League, the other league. But as for the XFL, though, I think it's awesome. I think it's cool that The Rock got it. I think it actually has some serious backing, and it could be pretty dope. I think they start the season next year, so I'm curious to see any like new experimental ideas that work well and get sent to the NFL. I think the Xbox controller with the ref having that, being able to control it, would be sweet to have. And I think also changing up the kickoffs to be safer would be cool to have too. I like the kickoff system that they had in the XFL. Gabe, did you ever watch any of those like right before COVID, before everything got shut down?
I did watch the XFL. I think one of the biggest things I liked was like the sideline. They had like I think they had
yes, that's what it is. Yeah,
like instant plays, and they also had mic. They had everybody mic'd up on the sideline.
Live mic'd up. Plays. Yeah,
And this was during
that's what
COVID, the
it
bubble,
was.
when they had nobody in the stadium. So that kind of shit, that kind of stuff, I do like, because I feel like it makes me feel like I'm on the field, like, yo, I'm on the sideline, even though I'm not
No,
playing.
they
It
stopped
just makes
that
you feel
when
like, yo,
COVID happened. They stopped right when COVID
yeah,
happened. It was like that couple weeks before. They had like 3 weeks where they
yeah,
played. But yeah, I forgot about the sideline thing. You can hear them talk and like call play. That was sick.
yeah. So that I do appreciate, and it was, it was sports in the middle of a pandemic, so there was nothing else to watch. I'm gonna stay at home. There's nothing else to watch. Like, how much Netflix can I just scroll through and not pick a movie to watch? So think that was fun, and it's kind of, I feel like it's kind of good. It's like a second chance for players to get signed and get extra tape on them so they can get signed. And a lot of
Mhm.
I would say not a lot, but
Um,
there were many players that signed
they
to
got
the NFL
re-signed.
from the XFL. Yeah,
Yeah, I forgot. Was it PJ Tucker? I think he got signed.
PJ
He got picked
Walker,
up
he's
by
the
the
quarterback,
PJ Walker. Yeah, PJ Walker. Yeah, he got picked
Carolina
up
Panthers.
by. But he got picked up originally from the Seahawks after playing super well for like the Houston team. See, and then St.
Yeah,
Louis gets his football team again. They were hyped, bro. The Battlehawks. That's a sick ass
yeah.
name, and
Battlehawks is cool
also
Pretty
name.
dope
That's
name.
the second.
yeah, and
Pretty
the
dope.
logo was sick. Was one of the few that had a good logo. But yeah, I mean, St. Louis was hyped to have a football team back. My only criticism with XFL is it came off so cheesy with like the way the logos and stuff were.
Yeah,
It
I mean,
reminds me,
you're gonna get like tier
It just
two
feels weird.
college looking,
Yeah.
but
logos
even
and
college
names,
looks clean
and
sometimes.
you
You know what it
know,
reminded me of? You ever played you remember like seeing like the old like NFL Europe teams and stuff like that? You used to be able to play on like
Yeah,
Madden.
Madden.
yeah,
Yeah,
Madden,
you used to
yes,
be
I
able
do
to play
remember
on
that.
Madden. It had like those
Be like the
cheesy like
Sea
looking logos.
Dragons. Sea
Yeah,
Dragons or
they
whatever they
brought
were.
in the NFL Europe teams. Yeah, that's exactly what it looks like. Like when I saw that, it
Yeah.
just reminded me of that. I was like, this looks so cheesy. But we are
But
getting the uh, the United States Football League, which I guess is supposed to be pretty equal level to the XFL. I guess a lot of former players are going there. That's going to be interesting to see.
so I think with that was weird because Vince McMahon was trying to start back at the XFL again, and they had an XFL, but I think there was a guy who was covering, like a journalist who was covering it, and then literally like followed Vince McMahon and then went and split off. He like literally took his idea and just made his own thing that was going forward. So I feel like there's two parallel leagues. That's what you're talking about, the USFL,
Oh,
whatever.
that's how
So
the
I
USFL
think
spawned.
I think I gotta look up the story. I'm not too sure, but I do remember hearing a story about Vince McMahon trying to run this thing with through WWE, whatever, and then there was a split off there. Somebody else trying to do their own shit, like an American thing. But I gotta look it up.
Yeah,
I'll tell you the story next week. We'll talk about it.
they got a lot of ex NFL players playing this year in that league. It's going to be kind of interesting. I might check it out a few games. I remember we talked about what was it like a year and a half ago, almost, or a year ago, about them potentially merging with the Canadian Football League. Obviously, that never ended up working
we
out,
discussed
and
that before. Yeah,
yeah, it fell through. But that would have been interesting to see them do that. That would have been kind of cool. But I guess no, it just didn't work. I
Yeah.
think Canada just wanted to stick to their own thing.